Yeah, welcome everybody. It's the AEW All Out Post Show here on the Ringside Report Network. CM Punk is the new AEW champion. MJF is back, and other stuff happened. Let's get Johnny in here and do this thing. Start. Where's Johnny?
There he is.
There he is.
So, big man. El Cantador.
What's up, big dog?
I'm pretty happy the pay-per-view ended a little before midnight.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah. I'm seeing Ryan Katz, regular in the chat, said AEW just proved that WWE does pay-per-view length perfectly. I feel like yesterday's show and tonight's show from AEW were roughly the same amount of time. I don't know why people are so upset about the length of this pay-per-view. Maybe it's because it's, just past midnight Eastern here on a Sunday, but the WWE show yesterday was 6 matches. Nearly 4 hours. They went 3.5 hours. I think they went just over 3.5 hours for 6 matches. Tonight we saw 11 matches in a span of just under 4 hours. They went 8 p.m. Eastern time to about 11:57 Eastern when the pay-per-view went off the air. This was actually, for AEW pay-per-views that have gone 4+ hours. I think they've done a 5-hour pay-per-view before. I mean, they have had some marathon shows. I was actually pleased with how long this show went. I didn't think that this was too long. I was happy with it. I was not so mad. Whoa, wait a second.
Oh, cool screen.
Hold on, we just disappeared.
Welcome back.
We're back.
We're back, baby. I tried to pull something off.
Better than ever.
Yeah. I like the length of this pay-per-view. I thought it was pretty good. I like this pay-per-view overall. Shout out to Ray Cruz. Shout out to Anthony Plesia, Franco 316, seeing some of the members in the chat. Don't forget to join up, join.ringsidereport.net if you want to become a member. And hit us up on Super Chat as well if you have any pertinent questions, comments, anything you want us to get to here on the show. Of course, members of the show can join us whenever you want. You want to give us a call, you want to talk about the pay-per-view, you can do that. Give us your score on 10 for this pay-per-view overall. What are you giving this thing? You giving it a 2? Did you not like it? You giving it a 7? Were you happy with it? You giving it a 9? What do you think about this pay-per-view, AEW All Out 2022? I'm seeing Anthony Plesia say, too many matches to watch, care about. I think that there were a few matches that could have been taken off this pay-per-view, a few matches that I didn't need to see, but most of them were pretty good. We saw a lot of really good matches, and then a few here and there that were just kind of forgettable. Overall, though, I thought this was a good pay-per-view. I'm going to start us off with the numbers.
Oh, nice.
And what number to give this pay-per-view. I'm giving it. Are you ready?
All ears.
I'm giving it an 8. I'm giving it an 8. Because I thought we had some good matches. I really enjoyed the 6-man, the trios championship match. I thought that match was fantastic. Kenny Omega and the Bucks getting the win over Hangman and the Dark Order. I enjoyed the tag team title match, Swerve and the Glory beating the Acclaimed. I thought that was an excellent tag team match. I like the Fatal 4-Way for the Women's Championship. Toni Storm, new interim champion, beating Britt Baker, the DMD, Jamie Hayter, and Hikaru Shida. I like Chris Jericho versus Bryan Danielson. I thought that match was very good. And I like CM Punk and Jon Moxley. I thought it was a solid match. Maybe a little too long. I thought it dragged at times. Moxley working the leg of CM Punk felt a little... It was like a little too much. I thought they could have shaved 3 to 5 minutes off that match and done the trick, but maybe that's because we were nearing the end of the pay-per-view and I knew Punk was going to win, and it was like, all right, let's get to the point here. But overall, I thought it was a good show, and with so many matches that I just named that were good, it's hard for me to give this pay-per-view a low rating. So many good matches. Now, there were a lot of matches on this card, and I didn't mention a lot of the matches just there, right? Like when I was running down my favorites, there are a few that I omitted from that list. However, we still had a pretty lengthy list of some quality matches on this show. I'm not sure if any match was better than Sheamus Gunther from yesterday, because that match kicked so much ass. But it was close, man. The trios match, the tag match, very good. Bryan Danielson, Chris Jericho, very good. We had some solid matches. So I'm giving this pay-per-view on 10. Big Dave's score on 10 is an 8. Put it in 8. Anthony Plessia gives it a 7.5 on 10. So roughly where I'm at on this one. What do you think, little bro?
You're saying put it in 8, and I got to say,
Put it in 8.
I agree.
Wow.
Take it for a test drive, and you'll agree.
I agree. I think I got to give, I don't know, if you recall, and for the audience, a refresher, I gave Double or Nothing a 2 on 10. I really did not like Double or Nothing.
Yeah. I didn't like MJF getting squashed at Double or Nothing. I didn't like Hangman losing at Double or Nothing. And a lot of the matches just weren't that good. I didn't like Double or Nothing either. I liked Forbidden Door a lot. This pay-per-view way better than Double or Nothing. Way better.
And even, the time wasn't that an issue. And there are a lot of the matches, even though some matches weren't so good, they weren't that long. Most of the bad matches were kind of short. And the good matches had a really good flow in them that just made it just more fun to watch. The Tag Team Championship match was, it just kept getting better and better and a little bit more dramatic. There's some great close spots there.
Yeah.
My match of the night is the Trios Tag Team Championship match. I can't believe that match went on second in the card.
Yeah.
I was kind of upset. I was like, they're going to kill the momentum for all the other workers on the show because these guys are going to put on a hell of a match. And they did. But a lot of wrestlers then stepped up and provided great matches of their own. It wasn't too much of an energy drain at the beginning of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And the show did start off kind of shaky. That ladder match, with the weird abrupt ending was kind of like, uh-oh. Is this going to be one of those weird AEW finish, fests? But no, they picked it up, and I agree. I think an 8 on 10 is justified for this show. It was a good effort.
Okay, Johnny, so far we are unanimous, 8 on 10 on this all-out pay-per-view. Let's see Johnny break the streak. What do you think?
Well, I'll break the streak all right. It's no problem with that. I
didn't like it.
this pay-per-view, but there were some parts I didn't like. And yeah, the length was fine. It was much better than most pay-per-views that we've seen from AEW. But as you guys have both said, there was some ups and there were some downs. And the downs really started to kill that pay-per-view a bit, I found like some matches, they were dragging a bit, and you were kind of uninterested in some matches. And it kind of hurts when you're watching, regardless, it's long. And you're watching matches later on, it's kind of affecting the later matches. That trios match at the end, did you guys even care?
The Sting one?
No, not at all.
Right.
Yeah. The Sting match,
and that's just because, again, it's too long, a lot of the matches. And
I never care about the House of Black.
Fine. You can never care about the House of Black, but still, to have even
you know what I mean?
The crowd there. The crowd there didn't really seem to care, and they were into all that stuff, but they were kind of tired. You could feel that the crowd was kind of tired. I felt after Danielson and Jericho, it's it should be main event time. It felt like you went on a little bit too much there with this pay-per-view. But not to say again, there were some good moments. Definitely some good matches, like you guys said. Danielson, Jericho, great match. Tag match was good. I have my issues with the trios match, but it's not a bad match. I had some issues with it. And, the main event, it wasn't the best match, but it delivered. It was what it needed to be. You got a lot of blood there. Punk had his moment, and you got MJF. Nice surprise. But the big thing, though, you look at last year's All Out, and like last year's All Out, arguably might be one of the best AEW pay-per-views or the best AEW pay-per-view they ever did.
The best. Yeah.
So that's it. That's when I look back on this, and it's like, this is not even close, I don't feel. Because I felt last year, I don't know about you, like last year, every match kind of felt like a big deal. And tonight, it didn't feel like that. Some matches were just like, well, this is the in-between kind of thing. Like, you know, Jade and Athena, like, it was just like, well, we're just getting through this. That's pretty much it. And, like, you know, I like Christian Jungle Boy, I like the story, but tonight was just like, wasn't really telling that. It's like, we're just going to get through this. And it's just an angle pretty much tonight. So, to me, that kind of hurt the pay-per-view a bit.
What's your number?
I think I got to give it a 6.
Oh.
Gentleman 6.
Giving it a 6. And you gave yesterday's WWE show a 6 too, didn't you?
I kind of feel almost the same way in terms of, like, you know, good, but some moments not so good. And I feel like there was more good than bad, but not by much.
I think the main difference is if you were eating my cheeseburgers from the barbecue during All Out, you'd give it a higher rating. I think that Clash at the Castle got a higher rating from you yesterday, John, because you were eating so good.
Some dirty burgers.
If you had some good burgers tonight, you'd give All Out a better rating. I think All Out was better than Clash at the Castle.
I mean, totally different kind of pay-per-views, though. I mean, totally different kind of style of wrestling that we saw tonight. We saw a lot of trios matches tonight, and I think that may have been a mistake to start off with the championship trio match right away, and then you have the other trio matches later. I feel like that was a mistake.
Yeah, it was, weird booking for this pay-per-view as far as the match order, but I feel like they were trying to give you a big match and then a few matches to kind of settle down, and and then they'd bring you back up for a big one, and then you settle down for a couple, and then you come back up. It was like ups and downs because of the long show.
But that hurts it compared to last year. Last year, you didn't have that, really. I felt like every match was a big deal. You didn't really have ups and downs. It's just like all the way through, it's like, oh, big match, big match, big match. And to me, it's like, well, you just didn't have it this year. Yet you had more star power, too.
It's hard to give a perfect pay-per-view, though, every year. Like All Out, I gave a 10 on 10. I don't think I've given a pay-per-view a 10 on 10 since All Out last year.
Wow.
A perfect pay-per-view. It was a perfect pay-per-view. It was the greatest pay-per-view in AEW history and one of the greatest pay-per-views that I've seen. I think it's unfair to compare any other pay-per-view to All Out 2021 because it was so good, because you had the debut of Bryan Danielson, because you had the debut of Minoru Suzuki, because you had the debut of Adam Cole, because you had such big matches. It was just
CM Punk's return match.
The return of CM Punk, his first match in how many years, right? Like, it was such a big pay-per-view last year. You can't top it. There's nothing you really can do to beat it, but they tried their hardest, and they gave you a pretty good pay-per-view. Like, I agree, it wasn't as good as last year, but I'm not disappointed it wasn't as good as last year. I couldn't fathom a pay-per-view being as good as All Out was last year. For All Out this year, I thought it was pretty damn good. I liked it, and that's why I'm giving it an 8 on 10, where I gave Clash at the Castle a 6 on 10, because that pay-per-view slightly shorter than this one, but that one felt like a drag. Like, the matches were long and boring. Main event tonight, better than the main event yesterday.
Yeah, I'll give you that for sure. And, I think a better ending overall, for sure. With the whole MJF thing. But I'll agree, too, the ladder match, not a good start. Not a good start with that ladder match. There was singing from the crowd, though. We got the bass in the scissoring or something. I don't know what they were singing exactly, but it sounds something like that.
Okay, CM Punk beats Jon Moxley. Punk hits GTS for a 2 count that looked like it was going to be a 3 early on in the match, right? Punk starting off hot.
I wish.
It seemed like they were going to finish it quick. Moxley beat Punk in about 3 minutes a couple of weeks ago. I thought that they were going to do a back and forth deal with Punk, right? Giving Punk the win, but that didn't happen. The crowd was very much behind CM Punk. Moxley was flipping them off. But by the midpoint in that match, the crowd kind of turned, and there was "Let's go Punk, let's go Mox" chants, kind of dueling chants in Chicago, which was a little bit surprising. Punk and Moxley brawling through the crowd during the match, kind of weird. Like, it wasn't a no DQ match, but no countouts, I guess.
Right, well, it's a championship match. They're lenient on the rules.
Punk went into the ring post, came up bleeding, did a little blade job there, and then Moxley punching and elbowing Punk in the head seemed to really open up the cut. Yeah, I mean, he was going after him, and, you know, usually a guy's bleeding, he cut himself, and then the other guy will punch him in the head to make it look like he's trying to attack the wound, but he won't really punch him that hard. But after Moxley threw those punches and those elbows, those grinding elbows in Punk's head, Punk was bleeding, like, way more. You know, I like that. Like, Moxley actually did open up the cut and did cause more blood from CM Punk. Like, that was pretty cool. You don't see that very often in pro wrestling. Like, if a guy is bleeding, you might see the guy throw punches to it, but the punches aren't really connecting and nothing's doing damage. But Moxley was really grinding the point of his elbow into CM Punk's forehead, and Punk came up like just a crimson mask, right? The mess of blood. It was good.
I didn't mind it. I thought, you know, for the world title match, we didn't see a lot of blood, I don't think, at all tonight, really. So if you're going to have it, save it for the main events.
Samoa Joe, like, did a run-in and somehow was bleeding at some point.
Yeah, I didn't understand
Malachi Black was bleeding from his eye?
Oh, yeah, Malachi Black was bleeding. I think Sting punched him in the face.
Yeah, like, at first I thought it was, like, makeup to make it look like he had blood in his eye, and then, like, it started streaking down his face. Like, it was, like, right under here.
Yeah, but that was accidental. That was accidental. The Samoa Joe blood was accidental, but Punk was on purpose. But he and Moxley really accentuated the blood with those elbows and those punches, and then Moxley licking the blood off of his hand. Just
gruesome.
Nasty blood and guts, AEW John Moxley style stuff. Moxley was working Punk's injured leg for a while, which you have to do given the story of the match. It wasn't very interesting while he was doing it, and I felt like the match lost some momentum during that time. It felt a little boring at that point, you know, like it wasn't that great. Moxley hit a nasty pile driver at one point for a 2 count that was pretty sweet. Punk kicks out of the Death Rider DDT and then hits a couple of GTSs for the pinfall and the victory. The match was all right, but again, I felt like it lost some momentum towards the end and dragged a little bit. Not the best match on the card, but a decent main event.
I don't know about you. I think it would have been hard to have a good wrestling match after what you saw with Danielson and Jericho. I think maybe they realize it's like, we can't top that. So they try not to and just, make it more of a fight, which I think is more what we wanted to see.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just what John Moxley does, right?
Well, he tries to wrestle, but it's not always that good.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's the working the leg part.
Yeah, that's it. When he tries to wrestle,
tries to be technical. It doesn't feel authentic. It just feels a little forced, and it reminds me a lot of Dean Ambrose when he does that kind of stuff. Just watching Dean Ambrose matches that were just boring slogs.
Well, the only difference between John Moxley and Dean Ambrose is that John Moxley's allowed to do all the blood and gut stuff in AEW.
That's what makes him interesting.
Yeah,
that's his thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
the entrance was great.
Yeah,
loved the entrance. Flipping off the fans. That was right in their face, too.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, that's what he does. Nobody's going to attack him.
And he's like, he's a Midwest guy, too. He's not that far away.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people that were into John Moxley in that crowd. Of course, the opening contest was the casino ladder match that Stokely Hathaway won. He climbed up. There was a bunch of goons that showed up.
The Joker won.
Well, a bunch of goons showed up and cleared the ring. And then Stokely Hathaway climbed up to the top. He was masked. and then he grabbed the chip and then walked down, and then all the goons revealed themselves. Stokely revealed himself, and then he had, I guess, Ethan Page and Big Cass and Lee Moriarty, maybe. I don't know who else he has with them. Who's in that group? Do you know?
So.
Is that it?
I believe you got it all right. Yeah.
Okay. What a group that MJF is coming back
new
to.
Pinnacle.
I mean, jeez. Not a great group for MJF.
Yeah.
And so then another guy in a mask comes out, and people think it's MJF, and he takes the big poker chip, so he has won this ladder match, and he gets a future title shot, and then he showed up at the end. The lights go out after the match, and then a voicemail from Tony Khan is played, asking MJF to show up at All Out and not even sign a full-time contract, just show up because the fans want to see him and be in the casino ladder match. And then MJF comes out, and the crowd chants MJF. MJF flips them off, but the crowd's still chanting MJF, even though MJF is facing off with CM Punk, the hometown guy. The crowd was 100% behind MJF in that moment, and MJF yelling and telling CM Punk off microphone, but you could hear it, that the belt is coming home to him. So it seems like we are off and running for MJF versus CM Punk for the AEW World Championship, and MJF does have a title shot coming to him with that ladder match poker chip there that he has won. It's good to see MJF back. We haven't seen him since their last big pay-per-view, right? Double or Nothing, when he lost to Wardlow in that quick match. And then he had the promo where he requested to be fired and said some things, and it was a hell of a promo, and people were wondering, where's MJF? How long is this going to last? And I was thinking, if he doesn't show up here, we might have a problem here in a real way with MJF, but everything's good. Seems like it was just a very well done story, and MJF is now back, and we'll see what he has to say on Wednesday night. It makes you want to tune into Dynamite on Wednesday to see what MJF is going to say with a live mic. I was kind of hoping that MJF would cash in that poker chip right then and there with CM Punk beaten and bloodied. It would have made sense, right?
Well, but the chip doesn't work like that.
Oh, it doesn't?
If it did, people would have done that before in the past. No, you get a future title shot at a later date. They've said that before.
Oh, so it's not like Money in the Bank.
No.
Even though it wants to be.
Yeah, it's kind of like a wannabe Money in the Bank, but it's crappy. It's a crappy version.
It's a planned shot.
Yeah.
It's not a cheap cash-in.
Not as good. So MJF gets a planned shot at some point against CM Punk.
Oh, it's obvious.
Well, yeah, I mean, he won the
Grand
thing.
Slam.
At Grand
Slam. It's
Slam.
going to be a Grand Slam.
In New York.
Yeah.
At the tennis stadium.
20,000, isn't it?
Yeah. That'll be good. That'll be a big one. You think MJF wins the title there?
It makes the most sense.
So Punk wins the title but can't defend it.
That happens to people.
Huh.
Still a two-time champion.
It's a lot of changing hands in the last 6 months, Hangman to Punk to Moxley to Punk to MJF from June to September, October.
It is a lot of bouncing around because that show in New York is what, 2-3 weeks away?
Oh, yeah, it's soon.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the 21st or something like that.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what they do. I don't know. I don't know if they give it to MJF, but with the momentum that he's got, it'd be hard not to. What's your match of the night, John? Was it the tag team match? I know you said on Twitter that was your match of the night. Does that remain so now that the pay-per-view is finished?
It was very good. I'm really... It's the debate right now for me, is it that match or is it Daniels and Jericho? Because I really like that match as well. In terms of wrestling match, that was easily the best match. But what did I enjoy more? I felt the crowd was more alive for the tag match. It doesn't mean it's necessarily a better match. I guess just for me personally, I like the Daniels and Jericho more. Because to me, that just felt like nostalgia right there, watching them wrestle.
You mean the tag team championship match, the Acclaimed match, John? That the
Yeah,
tag
yeah.
match
I
you're
felt
referring
that
to?
was tag team title match. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good match.
It was very good. I thought Danielson and Jericho was really good too. Cool finish there with Jericho running into the corner with the referee, and then low blows Bryan Danielson with the referee not being able to see, and then right into the Judas effect for the 1-2-3. Chris Jericho once again defying the odds. Everybody thought Danielson was going to win, but this is a common theme in Jericho's career. Every time you think Jericho's going to lose, he wins. Come on, baby. The Lionheart gets a win. Big win for Jericho on pay-per-view. He's lost a lot of matches. Good to see him get a big win here over Bryan Danielson. Even though I love Bryan Danielson, I don't think this hurts his stock in AEW. Jericho cheated to win. The match was great. It was what it needed to be. John, in our predictions, though, of course, you took Bryan Danielson to win, and I took Chris Jericho, and you were a little surprised that I didn't go with my boy Bryan Danielson, but I always have a feeling with Chris Jericho. You know, he's a crafty veteran, man. He always pulls out victories where you're like, Bryan should win, and then it's like, nope, Jericho's winning, and then after it, you're like, yeah, why not Jericho wins? You know, it's fine.
I like that the finish didn't involve any of the Jericho Appreciation Society doing a run-in.
Yeah,
like,
he
so
did it
many
on his
Jericho
own.
wins come with like Guevara or Hager doing something. This didn't have them at all. Not even like a failed run-in.
Yeah,
I was very happy that they didn't result to that.
great match.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I still question the overall booking of it, though. Like, I think Bryan going to face a future champion, whether it's Punk or MJF, to me, that's more intriguing than Jericho. I don't feel Jericho's facing Punk or MJF anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I question it a little bit. I feel Bryan kind of needed to win more, but I'm sure they have a good idea of what they're doing.
I don't know if they're rushing Bryan into the title picture right now.
Doesn't seem like it.
No, I don't think so. I think he'll get there one day, but just not yet. So Johnny's match of the night is Jericho versus Bryan Danielson. I thought that match was great, but my match of the night came early. It was Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks over Silver, Reynolds, and Hangman Page to become the first ever Trios champions. Just so many near falls there. Johnny Hungy going wild on Kenny Omega and the Bucks. There were some.
Apparently,
Did he? Hungy did?
That's what he tweeted out.
Oh, that's too bad.
That's unfortunate.
I hope Hungy recovers quickly from that concussion because he is a hell of a talent that the fans love. I thought this match was great. A lot of moments in it. A great story told. You know, when Silver and Reynolds were beating up Matt Jackson on his injured back and Hangman told them to stop. You know, don't hurt him or, you know, don't hit him there. He's injured. Even though they're the opponent, Hangman, you know, still has that friendship with the Bucks. They were telling stories in the match, and they were having just the moves, you know, everything was tremendous. A great match. Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Hangman Page, John Silver, Alex Reynolds. Like, this was a barn burner of a match. It was one of the best trios matches you will ever see. Omega and the Bucks are a ridiculously good trios team. And, you know, everybody thought that they were going to win here. I was hoping for the Dark Order and Hangman, and there were moments where I thought they were going to do it. They really had those moments, and it was a roller coaster ride, a lot of emotions, great story told, great match. It's my match of the night. I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was a perfect match. Really, I love that one. That was my match of the night. But, John, you said you had some problems with it. What did you not like about this match?
Well, the main issue is just the lack of selling in this match. It's just the fact that they'll hit moves and they'll just bounce right back up. And, like, you talk about Matt Jackson, like, bad back, you can still hit a double Northern Light suplex. So it's like, you know, you're selling... Well, but he grunted. You can still hit the move, though. Like, you know how hard it is to hit a Northern Light suplex? Like, just regular, but now your back's hurt? Like, I don't know. I don't know about that one. That again, lack of selling. Like I felt like they just did a lot of moments where it's just spot for spot, move to the next thing. You can hit a big move, but don't pop right back up. Kenny was very good in this, but I also found like there was a lot of rushing. I don't know if it was a lack of time, possibly, but it felt like they were trying to get to moments too quickly.
Maybe. But, I mean, that's just kind of the high-paced, fast action Young Bucks style that you're describing a little bit. That's just what they do.
Yeah, but they take their time sometimes. Sometimes they take their time, and it actually works out really well. But I felt this wasn't one of those moments. And I wasn't a fan of that moment where you saw Hangman and Kenny in the ring, and they weren't legal, and the rest said get out, and then they dragged both their guys in the corner and tag. Like, you can't do that. That's ridiculous. That's
Why
kind
not?
of making fun of the rules. You can't just drag the guy. Like, you're illegal, man. You have to get out.
I'm sorry, John. Did you hear the pop when they did it and then they both got in the ring? When Kenny and Hangman dragged their guys into the corner and then they tagged themselves in and they got in the ring and they faced off, did you see the entire building explode and jump to their feet? Don't tell me you can't do that. The pop tells me you can. And they did, and it worked. Did you see the reaction to that, John? It was ridiculous. They went crazy.
You get the pop with them doing it themselves without having to do the drag as well. Like, you let them actually make the tag.
I don't know.
Let it make sense.
It was
you
a moment.
Still get the same pop.
Some good moments.
I don't know, John. I thought this match was match of the night. What do you think?
That's a tough one. There's some good moments. I just want to just circle back quickly to the Jericho-Bryan match. Fantastic moment when Jericho has Bryan in the walls of Jericho for the longest time, and then Bryan's about to reverse it into like a little roll up, and you just hear Jericho audibly go, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, that was the best.
So
did you catch that,
I vaguely
John?
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I vaguely remember something.
Jericho
like that,
has him in the walls. Jericho has him in the walls, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I got you now." And then Bryan rolls him up, like reverses it, and like rolls him up, and you just hear Jericho go, "Oh shit!" And he's like getting rolled up. Fucking fantastic.
Those were good moments.
Great
moments in the trios match. But I hear John's criticisms, and I'm thinking about them. And I had like two matches as a 1 and 2. So if you say the trios match, I'll go with my other pick. I think the women's Fatal 4-Way was the strongest match of the night.
Whoa.
I think they had a great pace all throughout the match. There was some really good hard hits. That suicide dive that Toni Storm did to Jamie Hayter, where she just came out of like a bullet. I liked the finish.
Okay.
I thought that Britt Baker was going to steal it at the end, and I was like ready for that, and then it didn't happen. And see where that goes next. Like they didn't have her like and Hayter attack each other, so like they could still be a team.
Well,
there's still an opening for them to still be a team after. And then Toni Storm won, which is what we thought was going to happen if she wrestled Thunder Rosa, and they still went with that, and it's really good. The only thing is that they need to change her theme song. Toni Storm's theme song is really boring.
Yeah, it's bad.
And she's supposed to be like a rocker, and all these guys have like licensed music and rock songs and stuff. She should have like a song like Barracuda. Like that's what her song sounds like. It's like a general stock version. She should have Barracuda by heart. If MJF could get the goddamn Rolling Stones, for Stokely Hathaway can get the goddamn Rolling Stones to be his theme song, however many millions that must cost every time they play it.
Probably just tonight.
Probably, but you never know. They can afford Barracuda, and like that would get her a hell of a pop every time she came out.
No, because when MJF came out later, he came out to his regular song.
Yeah.
So they're not going to do Rolling Stones for MJF every time. Yeah, too expensive.
Weird. Yeah.
Too expensive. But yeah, I think Toni Storm needs a better theme song.
Sheeta was great too. Sheeta had some great spots. Britt had some great spots. Hayter, the crowd was really on her side, and you kind of felt like maybe she could take it. It was a good match. Like it didn't slow down really and sometimes Fatal 4 matches can really slow down and become just now you're getting in the ring and we're gonna wrestle. But no, it really felt like it was like 2 or 3 at a time, or like it had a good pace to it, a good work rate, and that was my favorite.
John, you've been down on a lot of the women's wrestling we've seen lately in AEW, but this match delivered, right? The Fatal 4-Way was pretty fantastic.
To be fair, I've just been down on women's wrestling that we've been watching, period. And I actually think it was actually a lot of local wrestling that we watched at SmackDown, not mistaken, that I really didn't like and I thought was bad.
Okay.
So, and if anything, I think I put over the AEW tag match that we saw on Dynamite.
Yes,
saying
very
that we
good.
actually saw some good women's wrestling.
Well,
so
these four were in that tag match too, right? And these four
So I'm
are
not
excellent.
surprised.
Hayter, Baker, Sheeta, and Storm are four of the top women's wrestlers in the world today, and they proved it again tonight.
Good chemistry.
But, it wasn't the main event like we see on other shows where maybe it shouldn't be a main event. This wasn't a main event match. It was a good match, but not a main event match.
It was a very good match, and it stood out as one of the better matches on this card. And I like the story told between Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter, where they're a team, and they were working as a team for most of the match until Hayter had Sheeta beat. Hayter was about to win, and Britt couldn't allow that to happen, so she pulled the referee out before he could count to 3, and then Toni Storm hit a pile driver on Jamie Hayter, and Britt Baker tossed Storm out of the ring and went for the cover on Hayter, but Hayter kicked out at 2, and then Toni hit a DDT on Baker and a DDT on Hayter to get the win over Jamie Hayter and become the new AEW interim women's champion. Who knows how long she'll be interim for? Hopefully not too long before they can have that unification match with Thunder Rosa. But this match again was really good. Yeah, it might be a while with Thunder, so we'll see. Maybe Toni Storm will just become the champion without having to beat Thunder Rosa at any point in time. But I like that match. I thought it was fantastic. All four women did really great. Shout out Jason Pete, Digital Art Coding, in the chat right now. What was your match of the night? We are split here on our matches of the night. Mine was the Trios Championship match. My brother here went with the Fatal 4-Way Women's Title match, and Johnny North going with Bryan Danielson versus Chris Jericho. And I think that shows you how good this pay-per-view was. It had many matches that you could argue match of the night. Like we're all picking different matches of the night. Like yesterday, Clash at the Castle, a couple decent matches, but one was clearly above the rest. Like one match, Sheamus and Gunther, clearly better than everything else. Huh?
Not everyone likes that style of wrestling, that hard-hitting style. Not everyone likes that. So.
Well, they're wrong if they don't like that.
I don't disagree, but I can see how some people would like the main event more. They like that kind of style.
The boring style where they don't hit each other hard and just kind of lay there for a while? People like that? Who likes that?
They take their time. They tell a story and all that. Like
they didn't tell much of a story.
We got to give a lot of credit for that match. Apparently, Brett helped put that match together. So
what?
Yeah, you didn't see that?
No.
There was a photo of Brett. They were working on the match, and Brett's there, actually with them, working on it.
Yeah, I doubt he had much to do with that match.
Yeah.
He didn't wrestle in it, that's for sure.
He gave his input. Did they listen to him?
Knowing Brett, he probably suggested a DQ finish.
They should have done this.
Why would Brett
disqualification,
I don't know. I don't know. That match wasn't great. We had some good matches here tonight. Kenny and the Bucks over Silver, Reynolds, and Hangman. And yes, John, I am seeing the John Silver tweet. We could show that.
Oh.
Heartbroken, can't move my neck, maybe concussed, jaw is messed up. So a rough match and a rough outing for John Silver. He gave everything in that match, and he might be hurt coming out of it. So
it's
that's
probably on the finish, I think. When he took the buckshot lariat.
Oops. Whoa, what happened?
You completely screwed it up now.
Yeah.
We went from weird screen to another weird screen.
What happened?
Hey, look, I'm Wilson.
Where'd we go?
Oh, no.
Where's the team? Why is the team not here? What is going on?
There's a lot of flashing. I think people can still see us, though. So that's good. But yeah, the screens are a little messed up.
There we go.
There we go. What the hell happened?
What the hell?
Oh, boy.
Some WD-40.
All right. We're back. So some of the other matches that happened on this card. Jade Cargill, dressed as the incredible She-Hulk.
Just She-Hulk.
Beat Athena after her finisher. Jade is now 37-0, still TBS champion. That match, not much there. Short enough. Not much to say about it. Jade wins. Jade is the best. Jade brand forever. Uh-oh, hold on. Now John's muted for some reason. Hold on, John. Yeah, go ahead.
You can hear me now.
Yeah.
Good.
Beautiful. Good. Well, did you guys catch that? I thought one of the baddies got hurt there.
Yeah.
She wasn't there at the end.
She got, I think it's when Athena drop kicked her into the barrier, and she looked like she hit that pretty hard. It made a bang, and she's like, oh! Like, it looked real. Layla is her name?
Layla Gray, I think, yeah.
Layla Gray, yeah. Oh. Well, Gray with bruising, I think, on her back. Ouch.
Rough.
Yeah.
Or neck.
Yeah. The baddies keep going down. Athena, she's taking out all her bodies.
All the bodies. She has no more bodies.
She has no more bodies.
No more bodies.
All gone.
Where did the bodies go?
That match was kind of a nothing. FTR and the Wardlow. Somebody asked me, I think it was Angelo on Twitter, asked me, who's going to beat Jade Cargill? I said, nobody. Nobody on the roster. And I believe that.
Well, again, Britt could always beat her.
No.
I could always believe that.
Britt's too small. If they have the match, it'll be a big match, but I think Jade beats Britt too. Jade beats everybody.
Yeah, I don't think the person who beats Jade Cargill is even like signed to AEW right now.
I agree. Nobody beats Jade.
I think they're waiting for Charlotte Flair to show up.
That won't happen.
Exactly, so it won't.
FTR and the Wardlow beat Jay Lethal and the Motor City Machine Guns after power bombs from Wardlow. I just didn't care about this in any way. Going into it, I didn't care, and watching it, I didn't care, and thinking about it now, I still don't care.
Here.
Yeah, this is my least favorite match of the night by far.
The pay-per-view started off hot. They had the ladder match with a mystery guy winning and a weird finish. The match wasn't great itself, but because it had an abrupt ending, but it was kind of like, oh, what are they doing here? This is interesting. And then Kenny and the Bucks against the Dark Order and Hangman. That was really good. And then the pay-per-view started to drag. We had Jade Cargill beating Athena. We had FTR and Wardlow against Lethal and the Machine Guns. Then we had Will Hobbs against Ricky Starks. And it took a few minutes into the Lee and Strickland versus Acclaim match for people to wake up and go, oh, this is actually pretty good, because we've been seeing a lot of nothing for the past hour. And then all of a sudden we jumped into another gear here with the tag team title match. But in between the trios title match and the tag team title match, we had 3 matches that were not great. I mean, the 6-man tag wasn't a bad match, but it's hard to care. I don't really understand what they were feuding over or why they were feuding or why I'm supposed to
very TNA
pay attention. Yeah, it's just like, okay, they had good moves and the match wasn't terrible, but it was just kind of basic and not really for me. Not my thing. You got to have a story.
Well, they had one. It just wasn't a good story. That was the problem. And I feel like in the match, there was just a lot of, Wardlow comes in there, dominates, but then they get a little cheap thing with the Morrison machine guns. And that's not very interesting to watch. I don't think people really want to see that. Like, if anything, they just want to see, like, high-paced action from them, because that's what they're known for. But they didn't even really do that. For guys that they bring in, they put over, like, Impact guys, like, wasn't really that great.
No.
Nope. And then we had the post-match with Samoa Joe coming out to attack Jay Lethal and his friends. Joe headbutted somebody and came up bleeding.
I think it was the big guy.
Yeah, the big basketball man.
Yeah.
And then Sanjay Dutt. Satnam Singh?
Satnam Singh, yeah.
Was it him?
I think so.
And then Sanjay Dutt found himself.
Sanjay, actually.
Was it Sanjay?
Oh, yeah.
Because I thought he only hit Singh with the belt, but Sanjay, I think he ran into him.
Okay. Well, anyway, Sanjay found himself in the ring by himself, and then Finley, the daughter of Dax FTR, came to the ring, and Dax clotheslined Sanjay, and then the little girl put her foot on him, and a referee counted to 3 for some reason.
And they rang the bell.
Yeah, and they rang the bell. Nice moment for Dax and his daughter. I don't know about the rest of us on pay-per-view watching. I was kind of like, yeah, all right. Why is there a kid here all of a sudden? Why is a kid beating up Sanjay Dutt? It turned an angle that you're supposed to take seriously into kind of a joke, a feel-good thing with the daddy and his daughter. It's like, yeah, all right. Sanjay was kind of serious for a minute, and then he turned into an absolute joke when he's getting beat up by an 8-year-old girl.
Going like, no, 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 no.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, this was kind of hurt the pay-per-view a bit when you see stuff like that. It just, it takes you out of it, I find.
And that whole match could have been deleted from the pay-per-view, and everybody would have been a lot happier.
I think it was like 20-something minutes, like 22 minutes or something, that match.
Oh, my God. Yeah, it took too long to settle a point that really, had no point. It was 16.5 minutes.
All right, it felt like a long time.
It felt like 48 minutes.
Long. Yeah.
Felt like forever. And then Will Hobbs beat Ricky Starks.
That was quick.
And, why? In 5 minutes, too.
Yeah.
What about Ricky Starks? I like Ricky Starks.
But the thing is, Ricky Starks, he's on the rise, right? And people can see that. But what does Will Hobbs have? If anything, he needed the win more. Because he didn't have anything going into this, really. So, that's why he got the win.
Is Ricky Starks on the rise, though? He just lost to Will Hobbs in 5 minutes.
Yeah, it kinda
doesn't sound like a guy on the rise.
Yeah, he can bounce back from that. He's got the promo ability. He's got the charisma. He'll be fine.
He's got that
Will
cool
Hobbs
pose.
To show that he's powerful.
Oh, man. His pose is so cool. It's like, no, it's like this.
Yeah.
And he puts his arm back and he does a whole... I can't even do it. It's so cool.
It's like he's disappointed.
He's my God. He's sad, but fashion at the same time. He's so cool.
It's just some things wrestlers can do.
So stylish. It's just I can't replicate it. It's such a cool pose. Yeah. Man, Ricky Starks is cool. I was sad to see him lose so quickly to Willie Hobbs. Too bad.
You feel bad for him. He'll bounce back. Not too worried about Ricky Starks.
Okay. Are you worried about the Acclaimed after they got beat up by Keith Lee and the Swerve? Match was great. Fantastic match. One of the best matches of the show. Really good stuff from both teams. They really went all out. I was very impressed. Yeah. No pun intended there. I was really impressed with
Bowens?
Bowens had a great showing tonight. Really good stuff.
Good selling, yeah.
Caster picking up Keith Lee and giving him the attitude adjustment. Really big move there. Impressive.
Yeah, it reminded me of John Cena picking up the Big Show the first time, and the crowd just going what?
Yeah, the crowd
oh man, I didn't know he could do that.
Yeah, picking up Keith Lee, the crowd popped for that big time. That was cool.
There were good moments, and I know people wanted Acclaim to win, but again, this was a test for them. This is their first big title shot. Just for them to get the moment, I think, is that victory in itself, and the fact that they had a really good match. So, I think this is a good step in the right direction for them. This finally, they get one pay-per-view match. Let's see what happens the next time around.
Mm-hmm. There was a near fall. There was a near fall there where
the elbow drop.
It looked pretty close, and then Lee had to kind of break it up, but the crowd was not happy. Crowd was chanting bullshit. The crowd thought the Acclaimed had won, and even after the, sorry,
I know it looked close, but I mean they actually did break up the pin. Saying they didn't break up the pin.
Yeah,
he did break it up. It was just close.
I mean, he barely touched the guy though to break up the pin.
He stumbled into it.
I don't like that in wrestling. Where to break up a pin, all you have to do is just poke a guy and they'll go, whoa, and they'll fly off the cover that will end the match and win you the championship. Everything is riding on you staying heavy on top of this guy. A man touches you from behind on your leg and you fly off at the count of 2 when you're just about to hit 3. It's they oversell
that's
on the interruptions. This is a rule in wrestling overall, not just in this match, but I see it way too often where to stop a pin, a guy will just reach over and touch his opponent that's on top of his partner, and that opponent will just fly off the guy like he's been hit with a ton of bricks, when everybody in the world can see he barely touched you. Why are you overselling that? And that happened there when Bowens, I think, went and touched, or Lee rather touched Bowens to get him off of Swerve. It was come come on, man, you barely touched him. And I think the crowd was chanting bullshit more for the breakup of the cover rather than the fact that the referee was close to counting 3, because it just looked like a bad moment in the match.
It was a real feather touch.
Yeah, not
Should have
good.
gone for a power drive.
Always. Other than that, though, the match was great. After the match, a little bit weird. I think they were expecting the crowd to give them like an ovation to clap for both babyface teams, but instead the crowd was very angry and chanting bullshit because they wanted the Acclaim to win so badly. And then Keith Lee went to go do the scissor me daddy ass handshake that the Acclaimed is famous for. Lee went to do it with Billy Gunn, who's in the Acclaim's corner, and Billy went to do it, and then Lee looked like he was going to go do it to Anthony Bowens and Caster, and they're like, nah, and they kind of rolled out of the ring, and it was awkward. It was really awkward, and I wonder if maybe the Acclaim decided not to, shake hands and make nice with Keith Lee, because if they had done that, the crowd would have turned on the Acclaim too. Like, to remain baby faces, you don't do the handshake even though maybe you were supposed to. I don't know what the hell was going on there. It felt to me like the plan was we shake hands and make nice afterwards, but in the moment, because everybody was so mad at Lee and Strickland for winning, that the Acclaim decided, well, we can't make nice because then we're going to get booed too. It's supposed to be a double babyface moment, but if we shake hands with these guys that are clearly the heels right now, it's going to be a double heel moment, and it won't work well going forward. Did you get that read too? What was your read on the situation?
My read actually was like, it also felt like a bit for a second that like Billy was going to turn on the Acclaimed again. Like he turned on them for the Ass Boys a few weeks ago, and it was like, and like with Lee doing it, it's like, wait a second, is he just going to join with Swerve and Lee? Like, is Billy turning his back again? But
yeah, because Billy was the only one who's like, yeah, I'll make nice with you. Yeah. But then the guys were like, nah.
I felt like the crowd was like, no, Billy, stay with the Acclaim. Like, we want the Scissor Me Daddy ass.
And it's not like he turned on them. He stayed with them. But
it was just like, it shouldn't have been done at all. They should have just gone to the back.
They should have just left.
Yeah.
It was weird, right?
Well, I feel like they were supposed to do the whole, like Keith Lee was supposed to do the scissor to all of them.
Yeah.
And Swerve, the attention was supposed to be on Swerve not doing it. Because that's what the announcers were talking about. Oh, Swerve just walked away. He didn't do it. That's what the attention was supposed to be. But because they only got one, it came off awkward. Because Keith only did it with Billy Gunn. So felt kind of weird. But like it makes sense, too. Like it would have taken away from the reaction. So, yeah, better that they didn't do it. But I think still the story of that. Throughout the match, too, you saw it, too. Keith Lee and Swerve, like, they kind of screwed up a couple of times. And that's kind of been the story of their tag team, which kind of makes them interesting, where it's like they're not on the same page, yet they can still win.
Yeah, it seemed like they had some miscommunication, maybe some moments where they were going to hit each other and then lose the match, but they hit each other and then kind of found their bearings and kept on going. It is...
it's a good dynamic.
Yeah, it's a common theme in their tag team, but eventually, it's going to cost them the tag titles at some point. It felt like,
right.
It does feel like when it does cost them the tag titles, then they'll feud with each other.
Right. Sure.
I think they will break up.
End here.
Say it again?
I think there's more they can do with that team. I feel like there's not enough they have done already with them. So I'm glad they didn't change the titles here.
Luchasaurus turned on Jungle Boy once again. He's officially with Christian. And that was clear tonight. He attacks Jungle Boy during his entrance, chokeslammed him on the steel part of the stage. That was a hell of a bump from Jungle Boy. My God.
Nice sound to it.
Stiff.
Well, officially, this is the first time he really turned on him, because the first time he never actually turned. He just was with Christian, right?
Yeah.
But he never attacked Christian, so he never really turned on Christian as well.
Right.
He never knew for sure. Now he finally made his decision.
It seemed like this was where it was going to go, though, right? We kind of felt like Luchasaurus, he seems like maybe he's with Jungle Boy, but I think he's really going to be with Christian. Just because of his entrance and the black mask, like he just seems like a heel.
I like that Christian took advantage of the whole situation. Made sure Jungle Boy's mom slapped him and everything. Really added to just there wasn't much of this, but he made the most of what he had.
I mean, Luchasaurus beat the hell out of Jungle Boy, the choke slam on the steel, and then the power bomb through the ringside table, just nasty.
Oh, yeah.
And then he tossed Jungle Boy in the ring to start the match. The match eventually starts. Christian does a spear. Jungle Boy kicks out. And I'm like, oh, no, are they going to do a match here? But no, Christian just sets him up for the kill switch, hits him, 1, 2, 3. Christian wins. Not really a match. This is a feud that will obviously continue, but this is what we needed here. I was happy with it. We have so many matches that were real matches to have a short kind of just angle instead. I'm happy with that. We can keep this pay-per-view moving. So, good stuff. And Jungle Boy took 2 big bumps. Like the power bomb through the table and the choke slam on the steel. That was nasty. Like he made the most out of his 5 minutes on pay-per-view.
That's something.
And it'll probably be better when they have a match later on, I think, because like this kind of match would kind of get lost in the shuffle. I think we had enough grudge matches, so when they actually have that match, it'll be unique to itself. They won't have. Hopefully, it won't be overbooked, but wait and see.
Yeah. And finally, Sting, Darby, and Miro get the win over House of Black. Sting sprayed the mist in Malachi's face, and Darby rolled him up for the win. Sting, at one point in this match, looked pretty rough. I think he was having a bit of a tough time. He looked kind of winded. Did you catch that at some point? The match kind of slowed down to a crawl. Sting was down.
Or
I didn't.
I'll let John go ahead, John.
I didn't really notice. I didn't find Sting did much, but I didn't notice like it really slowed down. I think the only slowdown was like when he had to stare down with Malachi, but that was intentional.
When he had that Scorpion Deathlock locked in, he was definitely struggling to keep the posture. And when the House of Black were like punching him, and like Sting was supposed to be like so strong, with Brody King's punch or lack thereof was so comically bad. He's like, because I think he thought even if I do like a work punch on Sting, he might tip over just from the force. So he's just like way over his head.
Totally missed him, and Sting still almost fell
he was kind of
over.
like. Ugh.
He was having trouble maintaining that Scorpion. Yeah, he couldn't keep his balance.
Not too long after, Sting was just on his back, and like there's 2 House of Black guys kind of standing over him, kind of like, what do we do now?
Yeah, Sting was just down, and the House of Black guys didn't attack him. They just kind of were looking around like, what do we do? What do we do with this guy?
Oh.
It was awkward.
I'll get up, guys. Don't worry. Just give me a minute.
Give me a minute.
Darby.
They don't want to kill Sting. So it was a little bit, not great. That match was not a highlight of the show. And apparently, after the match, for the live crowd, not for TV, Malachi bowed, blew a kiss, and hugged the House of Black, some seeing it as a possible exit for a time. I know Malachi Black apparently asked for his release from AEW, and it was not granted. He's dealing with some sort of personal issues. I don't know what those personal issues are, but it is possible that Malachi Black, we've seen the last of him for some time now in AEW, especially given the way he exited, blowing a kiss to the crowd, hugging his buddies there after the match.
Curtain call.
We didn't see it on the pay-per-view, but apparently that's what happened for the crowd
that's
there.
That's what that big pop was, I guess.
During Jericho and Daniel Garcia's backstage promo, there was a big pop from the crowd, and it was for Malachi Black, so might be the last time you see him for a little while, which that's okay. Whatever he's got to deal with, he should go deal with it.
Of course, one of the best moments of the show.
Oh, on the pre-show.
Yeah.
John, did you see the pre-show?
We'll be remiss.
I didn't watch the pre-show.
Oh. Why, Bronco?
Bam Bam Baklava. Action Bronson showed up. Tremendous. Action Bronson is a great rapper. He's very, very good. He was in Montreal a few months ago. We went. It was
fantastic.
So good. So good. Action Bronson is the man.
Fuck Star Wars. Indiana Jones is better.
Bitch. So Hook's theme song is performed by Action Bronson. Bronson was ringside for Hook's match against Angelo Parker. Hook beats Angelo Parker, and then Daddy Magic comes in and attacks Hook. Hook is getting attacked by Magic and Parker, and then Action Bronson jumps the barricade, comes into the ring, grabs Parker, throws him off Hook, grabs Daddy Magic, slams him down.
Nice slam, too.
And then Magic and Parker were standing outside the ring, and Bronson was like standing his ground, looking like Hook's tag team partner. I don't know if he will be, but Bronson, if you listen to his raps, you know that he is a big wrestling fan. There's pretty much a wrestling reference in every song
Excellent
that he
reference,
does.
like deep reference.
Yeah,
deep.
great wrestling references from the 90s and stuff. Just fantastic stuff from Action Bronson. He's a big wrestling and MMA fan. And I saw him. He was actually there for the Marlon Cheeto Vera fight when Cheeto beat Dominic Cruz there in San Diego. Bronson was there and hugged him after the fight. And now here's Bronson at the All Out pay-per-view with his buddy Hook. And, Bronson's been learning some wrestling stuff, so maybe we'll see Bronson in AEW ring. That, for me, biggest pop of the night for me. Personally, I popped the biggest when Action Bronson got in the ring, because Bronson is like one of my favorite rappers of all time, and to see him go in and get involved in the match and help Hook and toss some people around,
Toss Daddy Magic around.
And there's something special about Action Bronson. Like, if you're an Action Bronson fan, you get it. His shows are like rallies. You know, that's how you described it to me before. It's like he's like a superhero that you're cheering on. He's like your hero, and it's not like a regular rap concert. Like when Bronson is there and he's posing and he's done his song, and you're cheering and you're like, Bronson, Bronson. You're cheering for him. You know, he's your guy, and you want him to keep going. He's doing it for us. He's doing it for the people. Bronson is a real man of the people.
It's not just about that single night. It's about the whole Action Bronson journey.
Movement, man. It's about the Bronson movement. This guy is real as fuck, and it was very cool to see him.
And we were totally expecting Danhausen to show up.
Yeah, when Hook's getting beat up, you think Danhausen, maybe they're a tag team sometimes. Danhausen might make the save. But no, better than Danhausen, Action Bronson.
Yeah, just cut to him, and it's like, oh, it's Bronson, let's go! I was like, this is on the pre-show? Like, what the hell? This is the main event.
It was the first match. First match on the pre-show. Second match. First match was Jericho, Guevara, and Ty beating Ortiz and Ruby. Second match was Hook beating Angelo Parker on the pre-show. Pac over Kip Sabian, not Chris Sabian. Chris Sabin was later on. And then Eddie Kingston beat Tomohiro Ishii.
Yeah, they tried to make it like the Sheamus match.
Not that good.
Chops. Yeah.
Not my favorite match. But Action Bronson. Eddie Kingston thinks he's a New York hero. Action Bronson is the real deal. Johnny doesn't know who Action Bronson is, but we were very excited to see him, John. Very excited.
Well, it's long enough, this show, so one less hour for me to watch, I don't mind. I told you guys before, like, the pre-show was not going to happen, so.
You missed the best part, though. Yeah. Bronson.
It's pretty cool.
Well, next time, put it on the main show. Tell them put it on the pay-per-view next time.
Action Bronson should be in the main event. Forget the pay-per-view. Main event, Action Bronson. He's the main event everywhere he goes.
It's me.
Rock bottom through the buffet. Come on.
What's the Lex Luger one? Flex your pecs.
You take steps to get to the sex. I just flex. Like Lex, dance moves with the pecs.
Yeah. So good.
They be like, damn, that man's smooth like a Corvette. Vroom, vroom through the set. Who's next to get suplexed? Suplex City, bitch. Suplex City, bitch.
Yeah, all these kids singing it along, too. Like, they probably don't know what it's a reference to.
No.
There's like, what's a suplex?
That's the best line. You take steps to get to the sex. I just flex. Like Lex, dance moves with the pecs.
I appreciate the wrestling references.
Oh
my God,
you
so
really,
many.
If you read the lyrics, John, you'd be like, oh man, that's good.
I'm telling you, John, there's
good
wrestling,
Macho Man.
There's wrestling references in every song he does, pretty much.
Yeah,
and like, and they're good, and they're like deep. You know, like he's not just talking about Hulk Hogan or somebody. Like he's talking
Ric
about
Flair,
all sorts of different wrestlers. Rey Mysterio, Edge. He's got some line on the song. He's like going through tables like Edge. You know, he just says shit like that because he's a big fan. He's a big fan. So it's good to see him get involved in the wrestling business because I know he has a deep love and respect and appreciation for it. So it's cool to see him. You know, of all the celebrities that could be involved in pro wrestling. I've been saying for years that Action Bronson is a guy that should be involved. And to finally see him step in a ring tonight was like, finally, this is the guy that should be in it this whole time. Yeah. And for wrestling fans that don't know him, like, if you're a wrestling fan and you like rap music and you don't know Action Bronson, like, it's a pretty good introduction. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you've been missing out.
Like, I think a lot of people, a lot of people who don't know Bronson, who don't listen to Bronson, but now will see him in wrestling, will be like, who is this guy? And you might start listening to him and be like, damn, this guy, he makes some pretty cool references. Craig Biggio.
Yeah.
What's the bitch thought I was Craig Biggio, but I am not, though. I am the #1 Vato that'll choke a motherfucker out with Mr. Sacco.
I got into a
young DiCaprio also with a more muscular torso. Fucking tremendous.
What's the I got into a head-on collision at the Trey Songz concert. Shit was bonkers. At the Trey Songz.
Bronson slammed like Giannis. All right. He's good, man. Very quotable.
Yeah.
Some great lines. And
it's just the right balance between like badass and like total like geekdom.
Bitch thought I was Craig Biggio, but I am not, though.
Look, it's John Cheadle. Nah, it's just me, ho. He does not look like John Cheadle at all.
He looks nothing like Don Cheadle.
Look, it's John Cheadle.
Nah, it's just me, ho. Live from the moon.
Oh, man.
Oh, so good. Yeah,
good samples.
Oh, he's so good. The references are the best.
Well, you gotta wait and see if they actually put him on the main show. I mean, then you'll know he's actually in. Yeah, but you won't see him on the main show unless they know they're gonna have him.
Yeah.
For future.
I don't know if he'll actually wrestle. That might have been just a one-night thing to
maybe full gear if they want to build something.
I mean, it would be sick. Hook and Bronson versus Parker and Menard.
Yeah. And like have Daddy Magic do a rap on a episode.
Huh?
Did they say that correctly? That Full Gear is like a 2-day event?
Yeah.
What?
It is.
A two-night pay-per-view?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, they did say it.
What that means?
So it's a Saturday and a Sunday.
So Saturday and Sunday.
That's crazy time.
People complain about the 14 matches. Well, you put, 7-7. Easier to digest, I suppose.
Has the wiki not been updated?
I don't know. It says Full Gear is November 19th.
Well, it's also the 18th or the 20th.
No. 18th and 19th?
Or
No, you guys.
Friday and Saturday.
Get it together, guys. It's just Rampage. That's on a Friday night, and then Full Gear on Saturday. It's not a 2-night pay-per-view, guys. Take it easy.
They made it seem like it was.
It's a 2-night event in New Jersey because the Prudential Center, they're doing 2 nights in Jersey. The 18th at the Prudential Center, they're doing a live Rampage, and then the 19th on the Saturday, they're doing the Full Gear pay-per-view.
So it'll be one night of like
1 night
5 hours.
Pay-per-view, normal wrestling schedule for AEW. Dynamite Wednesday, Rampage Friday, Saturday pay-per-view. Oh, okay, Saturday pay-per-view. This was a Sunday pay-per-view, but, they usually do Saturday pay-per-views, so I'm fine with it. Okay? It's not a 2-night pay-per-view. Take it easy, guys. You guys are freaking out.
I'm relieved.
You guys scared me. I was like, what?
I was worried.
Yeah, John, we were convinced. Yeah, it really looked like it. It looked like JR was going like, ladies and gentlemen, 2 nights of action.
No.
Yeah.
Well,
they kind of sold it wrong.
Well, I didn't notice that, and thankfully, you guys are wrong.
Thankfully.
Okay? Thankfully.
Oh,
so the next AEW pay-per-view is in November, and it is 1 night only. It's Saturday, November the 19th in New Jersey. Full Gear.
So every pay-per-view, every wrestling pay-per-view is on a Saturday now.
Are all the WWE pay-per-views on Saturdays now? Like forever?
At least to the end of the year.
Is it because they don't want to compete with football?
I don't know if it's that or they just feel Saturdays are just better for their audience. Because, kids watching, I guess.
Yeah, it's on a school night.
Right.
What about dads who have to wake up on school nights as well? I mean, it might be better for me too. What about me? Forget about kids.
You suffer all the
What about
time.
dads?
So it doesn't matter.
What?
So you suffer all the time, so it doesn't matter what day it is.
John was over yesterday. He saw me in action with the 2 kids. John's like, oh boy. John saw me in action with 2 kids, and he's like,
I don't know how.
I'm good on having kids, I think. I don't think I want
I'll
to.
just lift 300 pounds over my head. That's more my speed.
Yeah, John's like, I'll just be muscular and single, I think.
I'll put over your daughter a lot. She's an angel.
She's pretty
Your
cool.
son might be a bit of a devil, but...
Oh, he's a good
Watch
boy.
your tongue.
He's a good boy. He's wild.
He was bouncing all over the place. You even said yourself, like...
Well, he's got energy. He's a
5.
You
remember when you were 5, John?
My son is 5 years old.
Yeah.
He's got energy, and he's bouncing around. He's watching wrestling. He's having a good time. My daughter's 5 months old. She can't walk, so yeah, she's not going to be bouncing around. She's
Not yet.
She doesn't have the ability to. She doesn't walk yet because she's a baby.
She's got the energy. It's there.
She's sitting there nice and peaceful, for the most part.
Yep.
Because she's a baby, and that's what they do. But she's a pretty cute baby, I got to tell you. I'll agree with you there. She's good looking. She's a good looking baby. Runs in the family, baby. All right.
Hey, baby.
That's enough. That's enough of you. That's enough of me. That's enough of us for the weekend. It's been 4 straight nights on the Ringside Report Network for Big Daddy Dave, and Big Daddy Dave is taking a break. I'll be back here Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, to preview, oh, baby, Khamzat Chimaev and Nate Diaz, UFC 279, taking place on Saturday night. We're going to give you the preview Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and then Johnny and I will be back Saturday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, Friday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, for Wrestling Uncensored. We'll talk about all the pro wrestling once again here. We'll watch SmackDown, we'll watch Raw, we'll watch Dynamite, we'll tell you what happened, and we'll give you our thoughts. This coming Friday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And then on Saturday night, I will be back again with AJ and Freddie for the UFC 279 watch along. We'll be watching the pay-per-view with you. UFC 279, Khamzat versus Nate. Nate Diaz and Khamzat Chimaev. Good God Almighty. It's a pretty good UFC pay-per-view card, and we will break it down coming up Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on the Ringside Report Network. Thank you to everybody tuning in here tonight for our AEW All Out post show. Shout out to the members joining us here live in the chat. Digital Art Coding, Anthony Plesia, Franco 316, Ray Cruz. If you are not a member yet, sign up. Join.ringsidereport.net. Join.ringsidereport.net. As a matter of fact, I think there's still free memberships somewhere that you can grab here on the channel. Harold Schneider gifted 5 memberships yesterday during the Clash at the Castle post show. So I think there's still some free memberships up for grabs if you can figure out how to get them. You have to be on a desktop computer to claim them, but I think they are still claimable from Harold Schneider yesterday. So we thank Harold for that generosity for the network. And that's about it. Merch.ringsidereport.net. If you want to get some of the merch, thank you to Johnny. Thank you to my brother. And thank you to me. And thanks to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please join in and give your support to Ringside Report Network. We've been providing expert coverage and commentary on both pro wrestling and MMA for over 15 years. Go to ringsidereport.net/support to find out more ways to support the channel.